So what my man is talking about in this chapter is what he starts off talking about is that landing page, which is from what I read, is very important because he talks about some things that needs to be on it. So when you arrive at the landing page, most landing pages you can scroll down and you know, it's kind of like a long page or whatever. But he's saying that your main things need to be right there when they first arrive on that site. And he talked about the importance of a video on that page. So I had a few examples here. I saw so does everybody remember this company here? Well, I mean, they're still around, but the guy.
I love that video.
Yeah, that video was crazy.
Classic.
Yeah, that one video kind of like skyrocketed their company. But when I said, okay, let me just see his example of a video on a page, and you know, now we have sales. Well, he had sales funnels back then too, but this is what I think he's talking about with the video on your page. And you don't have to scroll down or anything when you arrive to the site. That's what you see right in the beginning. So you click on the video and you find more about what about what you're offering, whatever. And he said also too that this is the way that you should think about the people that are coming to your business. When a doctor walks into the room, he's going to ask you a few questions like, so what tends to be the problem? He's diagnosing. He's trying to fact find and find those answers. This is how we should be thinking. We should be in this mind frame when people come to our site. So my site is actually getting worked on now, and this book has definitely helped me to try to kind of think about, okay, what does this need to be? Can anyone say now that they have this part mastered as far as like they look at themselves as a doctor diagnosing their clients' problems?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So your site does that, Chuck, when you arrive on it?
Oh, the site does it? No. No, I thought.
Yeah, the site.
I thought you said that you.
Oh no, the site.
No.
When you,
never mind.
Yeah, and yeah. So he said the video is the most important part, and you don't want people to scroll down. Then he actually talks about company branding. He talks about the large header, and with your company brand. Does everyone have their phone number on their site?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And on
LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn? Okay.
Right on top.
Right on top. Okay. That's what he said. So your site header should only include a small logo, a tagline, and the primary intent, and the 1-800 or whatever phone number that you have for your business. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a second. Trust elements. I looked at a landing page early today, and Sean was looking at my funnel, and he was like, man, you don't have, you need to have like a long form and some things. And I started to think about that. And one thing I noticed in this funnel that I saw this morning, the guy said, I was on Grant Cardone, I was on Gary Vee, I was on all these things. And some people will look at that as like, oh, you're bragging, but it's not. Because if cold traffic is coming to your site and they don't know who the hell you are, it's one way to kind of say, hey, this guy's did some things, or this girl has did some things. Does everyone agree with that? So who's here has had an interview, like on NBC or local news stations? Is there anyone here that did that? Is that on your?
Yeah, we have.
Is that on your site?
Yeah.
It is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Our health portrait is on there. Probably not.
Probably not that one.
Like the logo NBC, as seen on NBC or anything like that? Or first of all, do you guys think that's important?
I don't think that's important. In fact, I don't think anybody even believes it.
Really?
I mean, it's super easy to get on TV.
Yeah, if you're in, besides that, if you're in any type of marketing niche, if you're trying to, I mean, there's like 3 different services that you actually pay like $500 for,
Mm-hmm.
and they aggregate your content so you can put up those logos.
But I'm going to challenge that, Sean.
Go ahead. I mean, I literally did like a post 6 months ago that says, we don't believe you when you put it seen as NBC or ABC on there. I mean, this is not something I'm just being a contrarian about. I don't think people actually believe that anymore.
Go ahead.
See, I think, Sean, you tend to be the more intelligent marketer. And I don't see you as the majority of the population. So the average person probably comes with a lot of problems on a site. So I can see from your standpoint, yeah, I wouldn't even believe it. But from a rookie standpoint, they probably would be like, holy crap, this person just did a lot. Maybe I need to go more. But
there was a guy in our networking group who I totally blocked from my LinkedIn and also blocked him from my Facebook page. He was making the circuit around our networking. And on his front of his Facebook page, he had him and who's that guy?
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson, but he had a whole bunch of other people.
And tried to make it like he's hanging out with these people.
He had his arm around him and friends with him, and he was just such a blowhard. I just couldn't stand him. And then for some reason, he kept going into my LinkedIn account, and I kept seeing him going into it. And I'm like, I know why you're going into my LinkedIn account, because he was going around, and what he probably was doing, showing what not to do on your LinkedIn, because he talked about realtors a lot. And I'm like, oh, hell no. So you are now blocked from my LinkedIn.
Okay, so now it sounds like from what he's saying with this, you guys look at this more maybe as a negative thing.
No, I think what it is, and that, because I kind of fall in the same category as Sean, since I've been in the marketing business, I'm so jaded, and so I don't believe any of it because I know it's all bullshit.
Wow. See, what I'm getting right now is...
Sean, is that a pretty fair assessment?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just, and not to toot, I mean, like I said, I put a post up about that, and the mass majority may not fit in my category, but that was probably that post got 70, 80 likes. I think there's a huge population base that thinks that's full of shit, man. I just really do. Because it's been done. It's nothing new. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
The whole as seen as NBC and ABC and Fox, that's been around. That's been around since getting your number in the phone book, AAA realtors. You know what I mean? It's been around for a really long time.
That's interesting. So you guys saying that it probably can work against you instead of for you.
I'm not saying that.
Okay. Well, he talked about... It
does establish you as an expert.
What's that?
It establishes you as an expert in some people's minds.
Yeah. I know everyone in our networking was falling over this guy. They all joined his little mastermind group, which was $75 a month or something. And he had 10 people join, or 20 or whatever it was. And I looked him up in the public records, and he had domestic violence, and he was bankrupt, and he didn't even own any homes. And here he is giving people advice on.
He's doing real estate
seminars, and
he doesn't own any real estate.
He doesn't even own any real estate. He was living in his parents' home in Treasure Island or whatever, Tierra Verde. I'm like, I said, you people need to get a grip. I said, he doesn't even own anything.
This is interesting. So he has people joining his group for $75 a month, and you're saying that he lived at home with his parents or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't live with his parents, but it was their house.
It was their house.
Oh, their house, yeah.
I think you are right. I mean, it is going to work to a certain extent, but I mean, is that your target demographic is sheep? If you're going for sheep, then yeah.
Yeah, for sheep. Okay, gotcha. Dana, what is your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I have my reservations about it just because there's a lot of realtors in town that have like they paid celebrities to do their commercials, and then they have the whole like as seen on HGTV and stuff like that. I guess I don't pay that much attention. I mean, I know that they're doing good business, but I just have no idea how to gauge that.
You know, okay, I'm sorry. Finish that.
I mean, I don't really know or have an opinion, but like when I see stuff like that, I just kind of go like I would use NBC or ABC, like I would use any major network to be like, oh, there's validation there. Like if it's as seen on PBS, I would maybe consider it.
You know,
as like valid.
It's interesting you said it because I sent you a message. I was watching HGTV the other night, and it was a realtor from Sioux Falls that was on there. And I was like, wow, this guy from Sioux Falls. And the first reaction was Shana was like, oh my gosh, it's Sioux Falls, because she saw like the falls scene. And I said, man, Dana, you should try to get on that show or something, whatever. And then, because here's why I said that. I thought like, if somebody from Sioux Falls watched that, the first thing they will have is like that home pride. Sometimes if you guys saw somebody from St. Petersburg, you'd be like, oh, that's Rick from St. Petersburg. Can't believe it. It seems like I think people will start picking up their phone and typing this guy's name in. And if this is a person that is thinking about buying a home, selling a home, I would think at that moment, they're going to see like, hey, maybe let me contact this guy because now he's on HGTV.
No, I mean, I agree with that. If you're actually on NBC or ABC or Newsline or HGTV, that's a big difference. But I mean, just putting a logo up that says you're on
right. Well,
it's two different worlds right there.
It is two different worlds, but I mean, how much do you want to sacrifice your time? I mean, to be real, Danielle and I did a contract with TLC and Discovery. It was called Listed Sisters, and they put us under this contract where there were three separate sets of sisters. It was like West Virginia, South Dakota, and Orange County. Yeah. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Those shows, I mean, if you want to be on that and you get good marketing and whatever, it's great. But that show was a nightmare. It was awful. You work like, oh my gosh. They canceled the show and everyone was like, oh, we're so sorry to hear about it. And Danielle and I were like, we are freaking jumping for joy.
Interesting.
It just took too much time away from your life.
It's just a nightmare. You get three big way. I mean, everything, just every single thing about it. You're on union hours with the camera crew. So you're working until freaking midnight. Oh. And you don't get any work done because they sold it to us like, oh yeah, everything's staged. We just follow you around. No, they set literally everything up. It's all recreated. There's no reality in it.
Oh no. Yeah.
You guys, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
They were trying to get me to skip soccer games. There's no family. There's no realness to it. It was awful.
God.
Yeah. I think Yolanda was saying something.
I was going to say, when I was featured in Tampa, and I did on my website, I actually put the link, and not just as seen in Tampa Tribune, and I noticed that the people clicked it more. So as seen on NBC, if I can't click it and see you, then I don't believe you. And I'm just that person also. It's not easy to just pull the wool over my eye.
Well, I don't think he's telling you to lie. I think he's telling you, like, if you did, of course, put it up there.
Why wouldn't you put it up there where we can click it and validate you? Or we can click it and see that you're on NBC.
You're saying go a step further and say, okay, if you put that up there, just show the clip. Show a still shot or something like that. Okay, I got it. So it's good to hear from that perspective because you're wondering, like, because when I did that TLC show, I noticed, like, immediately, I got all kinds of messages, more subscribers, all this stuff. And I think a lot of those realtors today, they probably not getting paid that much. But, like, for instance, there was just some realtors here in Sioux Falls. So once they became famous on TV, then they started doing these seminars, and they just freaking went on a tour. And that's where I think they make a lot of their money at. But that show helped them become that expert. Okay, so we'll move on from that. But it was good.
Did anybody see any like stats? Like
What do you mean?
stats or statistics? I mean, does he have any stats or statistics that are saying like, if you do this, you can gain, X amount of customer reviews or responses or whatever? Or is he just like shooting from the hip saying like, if you do this, you'll get better results?
Well, keep in mind, so I was in Ryan's group, his Facebook group, and it was like $97 a month. I mean, he's a legit guy. I mean, he's literally like has made, 23 different niches and so much money per month. I think what he's saying, because we're in the information age here, we have a lot of information. You only have really a few seconds sometimes to grab cold traffic's attention. So you have to do a good job at that time to try to get that attention, get that email. Like I want to say
I would just like to see some hard numbers. I think that would like make me a little bit more on board if he were like, hey, only 12% of companies are doing this, but the 12% are seeing 88% better web traffic or something like that.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like something so that we can justify, because I'm going like, okay, to get on TV, to get a clip, to do all this work, like that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of work to see 8% better results. I want if it's 80%, then maybe it's worth it, right?
Well, I'm gonna ask Sean this and hear his explanation. What do you think Ryan Dice is talking about when he says you want to get people to know, like, and trust you, Sean?
Exactly what he says. You want to get people to know, like, and trust you. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory right there. But that I don't think this. Listen, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. I'm a big fan of that saying.
Correct. And can I just add to that for a second? Yeah. You're not going to get to know, like, and trust somebody from their website.
No.
If you follow them on social media and they're going live and they're doing all that kind of stuff, Pat is the perfect example of that. If I go to Vosberg and Vosberg, I would not get to know, like, and trust Pat and Chuck. No. But when I follow her on Facebook, I'm definitely getting to know her, who she is or who she perceives to be. And perception is everything. If I perceive your website as boring, then I'm going to think you're boring. But when I see you on Facebook and you're interacting and you're putting posts and you're putting videos, then, okay, I'm interested. So know, like, and trust is just what it is. I'm with Sean. It's just what it is, what you perceive for it to be, but where. So for me, I'm following this person that's building their entire business on Instagram. There is no web page. She's against it, all of that stuff. And the lady is validating by showing us her income, by logging into her Cash App, and by logging into her PayPal to show us numbers.
Yeah. I see it as a form of social proof.
Right.
Social proof.
And
yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, Yolanda. You're not gonna know, like, and trust somebody from the website, but sometimes the website is the introduction to a person's brand, and it's kind of like the gateway into the Instagram, into the Facebook, into those kind of things. So I think that's what he's saying is kind of like you got to try your best to kind of, have some trust symbols on there to say, what have you done? Maybe not everything, but just a few things to try to get that email so you can kind of start that conversation.
I wonder like what other, I wonder if the next chapters are going to, I haven't read ahead, if there's going to be like other examples or ideas of how you can build credibility and get that website traction. Because my brain always is working when we're reading these, any books that have anything to do with like, this modern technology, just because it's my week. So what is next? What is the next, like in 2 years? Because I feel like, this is stuff people were already doing 8 years ago. I want to know, what are people starting to incorporate now that are new, where we don't, we're not looking at doing the as seen on TV because that's people been there, done that. What is the thing that people are doing that there hasn't even been a book written on it yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's kind of like, what was that, Sean?
Since cavemen have been bartering for furs, what you need to work on is your copywriting and understanding how the human brain perceives relationships and transactions. Once you get that down pat, it doesn't matter the medium. The medium, whether the medium is direct mail, carrier pigeon, or internet beamed directly into your brain.
Yeah.
It's you got the how to sell to the human element without being right there, and it really is the face to face, and that's where most people struggle online, is because for years and years and years we had the age of the door-to-door salesman, or the Tupperware salesman, or something that can sit down right across from the prospect and sell them a product. And then it went mass broadcast with radio and direct mail, and then you had TV. So it was all kind of like a spray and pray to the numbers. And then we go back around to digital, and a lot of people fell on digital because they still try to use the mass broadcast on digital. But the thing, that's not how it works. Actually, it's become back full circle, where now when you do the digital, when you're on social media, you need to be talking to people like you're sitting there right across from their coffee table.
Yeah,
that's the whole point to the specificity. And I apologize, I never could say that word. That's the whole.
You did a good job, man.
That's the whole point to that, and that's the whole point to actually. I mean, if you look at every part of this, every book we've looked at, it's how to identify a specific type of demographic that has a specific type of problem to give them a specific type of solution.
Yeah.
It's the age. We're back in the age of the individual.
I was on a webinar by the Six Figure Chick, and normally we're the 5 a.m. book clubbers, so we don't trust nobody anyway, and it's hard to break us.
I'm finding that up.
We validate. If you can't be validated, you won't last in our group. But anyway, so she's teaching this webinar, and she's talking about how to protect your brand, how to do all those things. This lady inserted interruptions. She inserted, oh, hold on, my husband is bothering me. He wants me to find him something, and I'm thinking, this is a freaking webinar. You can go back and perfect it. But guess what that made me feel like? It made me feel like I was sitting right across from her.
It was personal. It's also something called a pattern interrupt.
Pattern interrupt.
Exactly.
Yep.
We know we know about the pattern interrupt here, but he just made it feel like we were all in the room talking as girlfriends, and it got us to stay on for 3 hours. I'm not giving nobody 3 hours at all.
Wow.
And I stayed on for 3 hours, and of course I recognized the cell coming, so I left. But it was
But that's what. But she played into that whole thing that people's attention span really isn't that long, so she has to do something like that.
Yeah.
That was genius.
Yesterday I went to one of our networking groups, and we were talking about branding. So there's this woman who's from New Jersey. She's got this Facebook shop. It's called Top Notch Facebook Shop. Has anyone heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so she makes these purses. They kind of look like that. She sews them by herself, She's got a store in New Jersey.
Yeah.
They're one of a kind. She makes purses, glass case holders, keychain holders. She makes like very small items. Anyway, so she opens the shop on Facebook only on Sunday night at 6:30.
Yeah.
To sell her items. So this past Sunday, she had 1,000 people on, or several thousand people on.
Yep.
And it's not a bidding process. It's a certain price, the items.
Okay.
But she has people like you have to be there and you have to bid, not bid, but you have to be like the first one in. It's genius. It's genius marketing, because she has people that are like clamoring for these purses that are just they look like Vera Bradley's to me, but I mean, this is her. This is the girl.
Wow.
Huh.
She just,
Yeah.
it's genius. So it's
You
branding. She also goes to these like monster fests up in New Jersey, they're called. So
Yep.
she makes the purses like with all monster designs on it.
Oh,
And
God.
the whole wrap on the vehicle is all monsters. She goes with a big van or something, or her truck, and she wraps it full of
Who
monsters.
buys them?
So she just is all about very good marketing and branding. And it's very specific, like Sean was saying about specificity.
Well, let me ask a question. There's a formula, I think, to certain things. So does anyone, I want to take a guess. How much do you think the Dollar Shave Club sold for?
The what club?
The Dollar Shave Club, the guy that came on that made that viral video.
It had to be billions.
Yeah, it sold for $1 billion. So really,
Yeah.
What is it though? What is it? It's a what?
it's a guy that came on, basically, he created a product where he was like, guys, you don't have to leave your home. We're going to send you razors. Because that's a problem. A guy sit there like, man, my razor's dull. I need to go to the store and do a razor. Don't worry about it. You're gonna go to your freaking mailbox and you're gonna have a razor in your mailbox every month. So it was the Dollar Shave Club. So he wanted to get men on a monthly subscription. And actually, that guy was a digital marketer.
Yeah. Do you think it sold for that because of the value, or do you think it sold for that because of the disruption?
Oh, the disruption. Totally.
Yeah. Because they sold it to Unilever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that was how much for you to go away. That's what that was.
Yeah. But think about it. That guy, now that he knows the formula, could totally find another product or something else that needs to be disrupted, use that same formula, use humor in the video, and duplicate that process all over again.
Yeah, he could be the Dollar Toothbrush Club now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because he knows the formula. Like Russell Brunson, has anyone seen Russell Brunson's new video of the guy who's a gold miner on ClickFunnels?
Yeah, I don't get that.
What do you mean?
The whole gold miner thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can't be pulling as much traffic as his old thing.
Well, here's the thing. The guys who made that video are called the Harmon brothers. They have made a lot of viral videos. They did the unicorn video. The video where the unicorn is pooping rainbows. They're known for like they're known for like viral videos. So he's paid like I want to say like $100,000 or more just for that video. And the thing is, they're trying to get attention. Because you actually said, why would a guy spend $100,000 on a video? Marketing and anything you do is all about getting attention. So I think even with the trust symbols, even with those things, you have to do something to capture that audience attention, because you want to get the email. Like I've heard of the phrase, and tell me what you guys think about this. Get the email or die. What is that? I've heard you say before, Chuck, if you don't have an email or you don't have a phone number, you really don't have a contact.
Well, yeah, it's not a contact if you don't have those two things.
Yeah. So I think that in this busy world, this loud world, you have to do something, be like, I'm over here, give me something kind of thing. So, but yeah, so also too, he talks about a call to action button. And I remember when I was in a group, he would say something like that. Like he said, you should, when you look on your website, whatever the button is that you want someone to click something, you should step away from your computer and look at the button and see, does that button actually stand out? And if it doesn't stand out, you need to work on that button. Like the color, like some of you can ask, like, what would you say is a good color if you want someone to give you
I use orange.
Orange. Why orange?
Because it's just higher. It's from the research that I've seen from Adobe, it's got a higher click-through rate than other colors.
Yeah.
Second would be a light blue, and then third would be a pastel green. Now, obviously, this data is a couple years old, but that was just the best ones.
Yeah. Does anyone else understand that point right there?
Hot pink work also.
Hot pink.
For specific demographic, hot pink works a lot, actually.
Why do you think that's important, though, Yolanda?
Why do I think that the color of the button is important?
Yeah.
It's attention getting.
Attention again. Yeah.
Attention grabbing. I think that it should be something that makes me want to click, and if it makes me want to click, and I'm a hard, nut to crack, then to me, everyone else will want to click it.
Yeah. Why do you think people joined the Better Business Bureau?
Because they thought it was a way to validate.
That's another as seen on TV.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't believe that anymore.
Yeah. Well, the general public still thinks that that's hard to get into.
It's a check.
Part of writing a check is about how hard it is. That's how you get your A rating.
So you guys tend to be of the demographic of trust is hard. So what is something? Well, Sean I think it was Sean or somebody said it here that if you do have something, that you probably should have a picture of you doing that thing or something like that. Like, is there anything that stands out that will get trust for you guys if you came to anybody?
I'd like to make a comment, though, is that, we shouldn't assume that everybody else thinks like we do, because we don't think like everybody else.
I agree with that.
That's why there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
7, 8.
That is a good point. Yeah, there is a reason why there's not 100 people in this room. Yeah.
Because like with Sean, Sean's got insider information that it's all bullshit, but people believe it. It's like Sean's the only one that knows that Santa Claus isn't real,
But here's the thing, and Chuck, that's where I struggle now to even listen or give somebody my time. So now that I'm not a beginner anymore, and you can't just pull the wool over my eye, where do I go?
Yeah, that makes a problem, doesn't it? Because I know what you're saying, Yolanda, because I don't believe...
It's a problem that I never saw coming, I can tell you that.
Have you ever heard the expression, ignorance is bliss?
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There you go.
Well, okay, so this is going to be interesting. So we're going to move on to another thing that he would say. And Sean, this is what you were talking about with copy. He said that you don't want the people's BS meter to be risen. So he said, like, I've looked on his site, the Rocket Memory site, which is out of date now. He doesn't probably even do it anymore. He said there's no courses that are available. But he says, if you write something like, you can improve your memory in 3 weeks just following this method, he would say that the BS meter for people will come up and say, yeah, right, prove it. So why do you think people would say that? Why do you think people say, bullshit? Why do you think they would say that with just that statement?
Sounds too good to be true.
Too good to be true. When Sean was going over my funnel, one of the first things he had said was that you need to have some reviews on there, or basically like people that you've helped or people that you've done this thing to. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important because people want to know, are you the real deal? Have you helped if you help someone else, you probably can help me. Like, I think one thing about, how many people do this? When you go to Amazon to buy a book, you read the reviews before you buy it. Yeah.
Here, I mean, I agree with you kind of. I mean, I don't think we're in the information age anymore. I think we're in the recommendation age.
Yeah.
We went through the information age. We went at a point in time where, it was nice and cool that we could Google something and get results. But now when you Google something and you try to find a result, you actually have to sift through the garbage because there's so much information out there. There's so much availability. There's so many media that people can just get right to you. So now we don't have now it all comes down to really word of mouth. That's what it's come back around to.
Mhm.
And that's why people are trying to create, to me anyway, this is why people are trying to create a scarcity in their time and their availability. Because now that you have the information, I can't make you think that I'm accessible easily. So if I do want to charge you $97 a month, of which, by the way, Abdul, it seems like you pay a lot of $97 a month. But, you know, so if I do want to pay $97 a month, I'm going to be able to get a hold of you.
What do you
coffee? I'll be right back.
What do you mean paying a lot of? Are you talking about with the ClickFunnels?
You just say, I was in this group and it was $97 a month. I was in that group, it was $97 a month. And I'm thinking, I need a group so you can pay me $97 a month.
No, he used to
Yeah,
be.
he's sitting there going,
I used to
No, he
be.
used to be. He doesn't. He's not in those anymore.
Oh no. But no, that's just really, to be honest, that's just investing in yourself, because it's like when I was in that group, you know, it was some high power guys in there, and I just wanted to kind of see, you know, what the other guys were doing, and you know, I thought, like, man, first of all, 23 niches, and they're making $4,000 and $10,000 per month.
So can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
So if you're telling me as a marketer, or a digital one anyway, that you can do blah for me, and it's going to cost me $97 a month.
Yeah.
And again, everybody's not like the 5 a.m. book lovers, but at $97 a month, how long do you think that I would think it'll take you to show me what I need to know to do for my business?
Well, see, that's another thing too. I think marketers understand, and even with my man Matthew Paulson, they know that the average time that a person is going to stay maybe in a group is maybe anywhere maybe from 1 to 6 months. So they're not just focusing on that person that came in. That's why they're always constantly trying to get new traffic. Like the Sandy Krakowski thing. Like, Pat, how long did you stay in Sandy Krakowski's group?
2 months.
Huh?
2 months.
2 months. And is your friend still in it?
Oh, yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But see, like you, 2 months. So you paid her basically $160.
Actually, I think she refunded me the second month.
And that,
I don't remember.
It was the third month.
The
she
third
refunded,
month she
yeah.
refunded me, yeah.
yeah.
Which was good of her.
That was nice of her, yeah.
But just yesterday, she probably had 20 people join her group.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Today, she's probably going to have about 30 people join her group. So it's kind of like the thing. And then she's probably going to have maybe 10 people that leave. So it's a constant, that I think that's the thing about these paid groups and marketing. They're not trying to hold on to that person. It's like, okay, you're going to leave? Okay, great. Boom. You want a refund? Okay, great. That's just the nature of the business type thing.
So how does one go back to building relationships? And I don't mean I'm going to be friends with everybody. That's not what I'm saying. When I'm talking about building relationships, what I mean is, so now that Pat has left the group, for example, let's say it was my group and Pat left at month 2 or month 3. Someone else left at month 6, and someone is still in there at month 18.
Yep.
Where do recommendations come from? The 18-monther? Because
no,
Pat was in the group for 2 months, but she talked to us about it at month 1.
See, I think you're going to have some people that like it, some people that don't like it. I mean, the reviews are going to be up and down. Like, I've heard Sandy Krakowski being described as crazy, insane, but that doesn't mean that Joe Blow from Kansas isn't going to be up one night trying to figure out the internet thing, and he's not going to buy it. So, I mean, Pat and Chuck went to a restaurant, and some guy said Tony Robbins was a piece of crap. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to fill up his next summit that he does. I mean, you're going to have haters. You're going to have supporters. I mean, I think that's just the nature of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And also with Sandy Krakowski, because of things not only that I wrote, but apparently a lot of other folks wrote about her.
Yeah.
I don't mean about her, but about the disorganization of what she was doing.
Yeah.
Now she has everything laid out about how you are to take her program. I don't know if we talked about that, about how to start her program and where you start from. Because that was one thing that I struggled with her program was you come in the middle, she's like all over the place and you don't even know where to start. So it wasn't just me, and I even wrote in and said that about it.
But see,
some people wouldn't even write in, but no, I wrote in and said, you are very disorganized and it's all miscombobulated and this is CF. I mean, like with the program. So apparently there must have been 1,000 other people who wrote in and said the same thing because like in the second or third month, I think the third month was when I left, she changed everything because my friend Alyssa said it all changed and totally organized. Now you take from
That's smart
step one.
business.
You made it better.
You know, now it's totally, this is where you start. You start from step one and now you go forward.
But see, here's the thing though, Pat. She didn't take that personal.
No.
If some people would be like, oh, my business is bad, I need to just shut the doors. No, she is constantly like the Kaizen. She's constantly making herself better. So you gave her the input and she changed it.
You want to hear a certain number of complaints.
It's a business decision. This is business she's running. This isn't like a friendly, oh, let's get together today thing. No, she's making 6 videos a day.
Yeah. And that's the done thing too. When I was in her group, she's always been doing that. And now by you giving her advice and her fixing that, that's going to help the next customer stay in 6 months.
Yes, or longer. I mean, Alyssa's been in it, I don't know, like almost a year now probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's benefiting from it. She's, you know, it works for her.
Yeah.
It didn't work for you. Yeah, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. You know, and
that's a million other people out there.
That's true. And we could tell too, we at the 5 Year Book Club, we are a different demographic. But then I think Sean had mentioned the word sheep. There are some people out there that just don't know anything about the internet.
It's not some. Listen, you have to understand that as a marketer, you're going for 2 different types of people. You're either going for people that know what they're doing or you're going for people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just looking for a group to belong with.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of my biggest problems that I have with people that teach information courses, and that's their only claim to fame because there's no real results. There's no bar there. Okay, because you're just teaching information, and there's always that disclaimer, that buffer that, well, if they didn't go out and do it, then they didn't do it right. You know, it's not going to pass with your information in your course. There's an old saying, okay? There's an old saying that was around a lot longer before I was. Those that can do, those that can't teach.
I don't like that saying.
Well, it's true, though.
No, it's
I've heard that a lot. I used to hear that saying a lot.
I'm trying to say that. I've heard it before, but say that again, Sean. I just want to hear it again.
Those that can do and those that can't teach.
He's saying those that can do it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Those that cannot do it, teach it.
See, you know, and here's, and I agree with you on that, Sean. But here's the thing that I'm noticing here. Like, Chuck, when that guy was bad-mouthing Tony Robbins, how long did it take him to say something negative about Tony Robbins?
It was pretty quick, man.
And he used to be tell him who that guy was.
I'll give you the quickie version because good thing Pat's not here. Anyway, okay, so we're sitting in a restaurant, we're eating, and some dude comes walking up and strikes up conversation, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, I wrote a book and blah blah blah. And, you know, I worked for Tony Robbins for 11 years. I was in charge of this and that. So that was kind of like his claim to fame. He worked for Tony Robbins. Like, oh really? Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, we know who Tony Robbins is. And he's like, yeah, I don't work for him anymore though. I'll tell you, you know, he's a scumbag. I forget his exact words, but you know, yeah, Tony Robbins, man, he's going to end up in jail. You know, so.
But
how do you know he's not telling the truth though?
And he might be telling the truth, he might not. But Pat and I are sitting there thinking, all right, this guy doesn't know. Like, we may think that Tony Robbins is like the best thing ever. He saved our lives. We may think that.
Yeah.
And he's rolling up, criticizing the dude, and it may all be true. Tony Robbins might be a scumbag. I don't know.
I don't think he is personally. I mean,
but he he made himself look very bad by criticizing someone else.
Yeah.
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 And
And see,
criticize a former employer.
Yeah.
but see, that version of that guy
Comes
always,
down to principle one right there,
What's
don't
that?
criticize, condemn, or complain.
Right.
yeah.
And he launched right into criticizing, condemning, and complaining.
But see, I want to talk about that demographic of that guy. That demographic of that guy always loses. They're always,
Yeah.
from a standpoint of where they're looking up at the person that they're talking about. And my question always is this: I know you're criticizing them, but if you just had an ounce of what he's doing,
Yeah.
you probably could be just as successful as, maybe not as just as successful, but maybe a little bit more successful, a little bit more successful than you are now. Because I don't know Tony Robbins' wealth, but probably got like 6 homes, and one in Monaco, one in freaking Fiji Islands. I mean, I think sometimes, well, that's it. It always seems like the people are criticizing the big people, but I'm like, they're winning. So it seems like they have the better business model. So I don't know. It seems that way.
Well, it's kind of funny, and here's the irony of it is that, usually if I run into an author and talk to them, I'm like, I want to read their book, 'cause,
Yeah.
you met the person in person, so, you make a connection.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't want to read his book because he had some serious character flaws in my mind.
Yeah, it took him, not even 5 minutes to talk negative about his former employee,
Not even.
but
So, Chuck,
I don't know.
I want to say something, and it's totally got nothing to do with this book. You just threw me for a loop when you said he came rolling up on you.
Yeah.
That phrase right there, rolling up on you, I was like, uh-oh.
That's the thing.
Got his
Yeah.
black card.
That is
Number
right.
one.
It's a what?
Was-
It's a
well,
what?
Somebody been hanging out with Sean, I can tell.
Uh-huh.
oh, she thought like maybe he was confrontational when he was rolling up on you, Chuck.
Oh, no. I was being sarcastic.
Well, I even go a step further.
Okay, he came strolling up. How's that?
The fact that he had to tell you who he was shows that what he's doing isn't working. Because if you are I think in brand awareness, when you're trying to build your brand, this is why it's good to do YouTube videos, podcasts, talk to experts, and then have them share you with their audience. If people really don't know who you are, you're probably at a disadvantage.
No, I thought that part was good. He started off strong because he struck up a conversation and then, transitioned into, oh yeah, I wrote a book. And that part was great because I was like, oh, this guy's great. He's just coming up and, making a contact.
Yeah.
But, then the wheels came off.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was this book again, by the way? Was Happiness something?
Here's his
Formula
picture.
for happy. The happy formula.
There you go.
Yeah, there's Mr. Happy.
There's Mr. Happy.
Mr. Happy.
See,
has
that would be
something-
that guy right there would be the example of me taking fitness advice from a fat person.
Right.
Yeah.
If he does not look happy, and he definitely did not sound happy.
No.
No.
And it's so bad. I mean, we all know Tony Robbins is great at marketing. He does his shows. He does interviews with Russell Brunson. He does interviews with all these people. He's on the media. He's marketing himself. He's building his brand. As people say, your brand is your product, not what you sell or not what you do. If you're not building your brand, you're losing.
You should have said, yeah, I worked for Tony Robbins. Hey, it's a great opportunity. Really learned a lot from him.
Gary King.
And just left
That's
it
his
at,
name.
and just
left it as that. You're right. Because it was a great opportunity.
great opportunity. I really enjoyed it.
If he had a website and he said, I was the former manager of Tony Robbins, I would be all ears. Or if not all ears, I would be a little bit more into him than just some guy walking up to me with some words on his hat saying, I wrote this book.
Well, yeah, because then you think, okay, well, this guy must have some specialized knowledge that I don't have.
Yeah.
So maybe he's worth listening to. But, you know.
But let me ask.
He showed his character flaws right away, and, you know.
Let me ask, there's this question, though, for you guys. I want to get your thoughts on this. Your product is your brand. How many people believe that?
No, your brand is your brand.
I'm my brand, not my product. Because if I decide to change product, people going to be like, oh, here she go again.
Yeah.
I give you an example. If Tony Robbins today wanted to sell razors, Tony Robbins already has an edge on most people because Tony Robbins is, Tony Robbins. He's just in the, so what I read in the marketing book was, it says that you are your brand. For people who are not trying to build a brand, they're losing. If you're the guy that's behind the shadows, you're losing. Because
no, that's not true, dude. The biggest marketers, the highest gross marketers at these conferences are people you've never heard of. You're just focused on a specific type of product, which is information products. I'm going to tell you right now, again, the biggest people in the marketing industry you've never heard of. You've never heard of.
I'm trying to process that. How were they invited to those conferences?
Because results. What's understood doesn't need to be explained. When you can sell $100 million worth of product online in 90 days, you don't have to put a Facebook video up to explain who you are.
But how do you know they sold that?
Because they did. Because the company they sold it for is the one that sent them there. And then turn around and hired them to be their VP and stuff like that. I mean, I just have to disagree on that, dude. I mean, have you ever heard, matter of fact, like it's like the head people in Google and Facebook and stuff like that make up. We hear about Mark Zuckerberg, right? Because he's the founder. Mm-hmm. But do you know how many innovators are in Facebook right now changing the world?
Oh yeah, I agree with you, Chuck. Not Chuck. I'm sorry, Sean. But here's the thing. There are certain types of blog posts that people can write, and they say when you first start a blog, one of the ways that you can kind of put yourself out there is to do where you do authority. Like if I'm just starting and I contact a guy, let's say I contact Russell Brunson, and that day he just happened to be sitting on his Facebook, and I say, Russell, I'm a guy, I'm creating, marketing a blog. I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. And he says yes to the interview. And then after I do that interview, I say, hey, Russell, I'm finished the interview. I would like for you to share this with your audience. I can become an instant success overnight just because I interviewed this guy. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that these guys who are at the conventions, who are behind the scenes, somebody knows they sold 100 million products. Somebody knows. Like Peter Parks, the guy, the interview I sent you, that guy, he never shows his face on YouTube or any other place. But if you see losing? He's winning.
So then, I mean, technically, you just kind of contradicted yourself.
What do you mean?
Because you just said the people that are not on front of the brand, if they're behind the scenes, they're losing.
No. But here's what he does well. You would see him on a picture with like a crazy authority figure. And it said, here's my mentor, Peter Parks. Once they put that attention on that guy, now everybody's like, who the hell is Peter Parks? And then they start tearing up the Googles, tearing up this, tearing up that. And I know the guy's worth a lot of money. But what I'm saying is somebody has to know that in order for you to get hired for an event. They may not be in the face like Russell Brunson, but somebody has to, like, we don't trust people here. We just said it earlier. We don't.
Dude, that's the whole point. And so here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I agree with Sean. You don't have to be, out front and center to be the number one in your niche or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But how do you get those people if they don't know who Peter Parks is or whatever his name is? How is Peter Parks getting them? And see, for me and definitely for CJ, if we can do it without being out front and center, we'll do it. I don't mind being on social media and showing my face. Somebody told me yesterday they haven't seen me on Facebook in a while. And I'm like, I was just on Facebook 5 minutes ago. But what she meant was, where I used to put up my photo with everything I post, and I don't now, I just post. She was like, I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh.
So I know that they're looking.
Of course they're looking. Yeah.
But how can we do it without that? And it can be done. It's being done.
And this is a good point that Sean is bringing up. And I just want to stay on it for a little bit because Peter Parks, I spoke to him on the phone and we talked on Skype and blah, blah, blah. And he was putting together a Asia conference. He wasn't going to tell the people the country that he was going to go to. He said, look, I'm going to tell you maybe 2 weeks before because he had some nut that just idiot that showed up out of nowhere and said, hey, I'm here. And he was a rookie. And he picked the country and he said, Abdul, if you can sell this, I give you $1,500 per sale. And when I saw some pictures came out, the same lady that Russell Brunson, she's from Australia, he promotes her a lot, she was standing next to Peter Parks. And I'm like, this lady would have went to the counter or went online and bought $1,000 ticket to fly all the way over to Asia to sit with Peter Parks if she didn't know him. So there may not be out there like that, but some people have to be known in order for anyone to do business with them.
Yeah.
Somewhat. You have
I
to
agree
have
with Abdul.
Have you ever heard of Bill and Rhonda Sterrett?
Mm-mm. Who's that?
They're the founders of i360.
Okay.
You ever heard of i360?
Mm-mm.
They do the marketing for brands like Home Depot, Pepsi, Disney. Yeah.
But
how do you know that?
Because I mean it's public information.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the fact that you know that they do marketing for these companies shows that they're not just like this CIA group.
Yeah, but they're not out there doing Facebook Lives. They're not out there, buy my course. They're not out there. They're not even, I doubt you could even get to them on Facebook because that goes back to where we talked about if you have a group, you have to make yourself scarce.
But Sean, we don't have those resources. Like we
But that's got nothing. That's capacity, not ability. Though. That's what I'm saying is
right.
You have to make yourself scarce at that level. Do you think these guys at the top level, they're not? You don't know who they are, man.
Yeah.
They're not at these conferences and stuff like that. They're not out there. They don't have to build their brand.
Right,
Because
but
their brand is already established.
Do you agree that all of us have to do it, have to get uncomfortable and be in front of the camera because we don't have that? I don't know, maybe some of you guys do, but I don't have some companies under me that I can just, work for them and be comfortable. I have to get out there, myself and build it and trust and know in order for people to buy my products or buy my services or even just follow me.
If that's what your product and your brand incorporates, yeah. But you don't see me really doing Facebook. Dude, not to toot my own horn, but we closed probably one of the most major accounts yesterday that I've ever touched on. Okay, we're talking about a well over 100 corporate franchise eyewear retail chain. All right, and it's.
But you can probably be a billionaire, Sean. Just saying.
If you are, see, and it's a good thing, and I know we're debating back and forth, which I think is awesome. And this is what my man Ryan is saying. Like he would show up in a niche and really not be an expert, but somehow he would get a person to pull out their credit card and do it. And what he's saying is, this is why, and it doesn't mean much here, this is why he said the trust symbols and people you work with and things like that. Sometimes it can be considered bragging, but sometimes it can work in your favor. So I don't know. I mean, this is what he's saying. May work, may not. I don't know.
No, we always go after status symbols. That's why MLM people stand in front of the Lamborghinis and houses that they don't know. I mean, that's that. I'm not debating that. I mean, my whole thing off of this was the comment that if you're not out there being seen, then you're losing. Because I disagree with that. Because the biggest winners in the game, they're not being seen at all. The true power players. Okay, there's a whole other people that's inside.
I must be the biggest winner.
There's whole other people inside of ClickFunnels that you've never heard of that are cutting checks every bit as large as what Russell Brunson's getting off of ClickFunnels.
Oh, I believe that. I totally believe that. You know, but maybe they're getting it another way. Maybe they're writing books. You know, I don't know.
They're getting it because they're a part of it and it's their skill set. Not everyone's skill set will incumbent being the public figure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that is true. Though.
I agree with that. So it seems like what Sean is saying is that you can get it with the trust symbols and people knowing you, but you also can get it behind the scenes. So and there's definitely proof of that. So I agree with that. This is going to be one of those chapters that we're going to have to spend some time. And the last thing I'm going to say is that remember I talked about that bullshit meter he was talking about that I can get you to do this in 3 methods, and he said we don't call that. He said you should have like questions, and I wrote the deal. He said if I were to say you can improve this technique and something about if it were, I wrote that question out wrong, but something about he said you should have open-ended questions. But I'll start there tomorrow. But I think today was good. It lets me know that you have to be the expert sometimes or the face, and then also you can also not be the face and you still make it. But it's just good to have this conversation because I think this can kind of help us with our own brands.
Are we just going to, and I know this is probably going to piss some people off, but you know me, are we just going to move on to the next book?
What do you mean?
Are we just going to go to the next book?
Yeah.
No.
Let me answer that question. I'll take that one. Absolutely, Sean. We're going to go to the next book, and that's what we've been trying to say forever. We jump into these things, we never dive into them, and we go on to the next book. And that's why it's called a book club. And it's our responsibility, and it's our responsibility to go ahead and work behind the scenes and on our own time based on what we've learned in the book. But to me, it's better if we work on them in a group. I know Dana feels the same way because she's voiced it before. You know, that kind of stuff. And CJ definitely feels the same way because he just don't have that capacity to do that stuff. And then, you know, without having to go back over and over and over the book. So, yeah, we're definitely jumping into the next book.
Well, but that's what we do on Saturdays. That's what we do on Saturdays, though. Yes. Like we're implementing the expert secrets, the PowerPoints on Saturdays.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's kind of like been the work day, and we've been like I think what 6 Saturdays now.
More than that. Yeah, I think it's just for anybody that wants to. Saturday morning is.
Does anyone here feel they could execute a deep dive survey?
Not yet.
No, not yet. But
this entire book is incumbent on that ability.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that you couldn't find somebody else, an expert out there.
I will be able to.
Yeah, or know that's important and have someone else do it.
Well, you know, you bring up a good point though, Sean, because, you know, like, I don't know about everybody else, but, you know, this hour that we spend here together in the morning is not the only time that I'm working on this.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is the discussion time, but, you know, in my own time, figuring out how to incorporate this into my business.
Yeah. It brings up those things like, oh, maybe I could just do this a little better or tweak that or do this, whatever. It gives you more.
Pat and I are taking what we learn and what we discuss, and then we're sitting down going, all right, now how can we use this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah, I agree.
And some of the stuff, you know, it's like, it doesn't fit in with what we're doing. And other stuff is like, shit, man, we need to do this.
Right.
Yeah. And also, Sean, congratulations, man. I saw you did a post about that yesterday about a deal you closed yesterday.
Dude,
congratulations, Sean.
This is going to bump us. This is going to bump us to $150 a month net, easy.
Wow.
And we're still leaking money like a sieve. Like, I mean, because and that's part of why I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I'm hiring an accountant. I've realized that a lot of our monies are going out to just crap that doesn't need to be. Like I'm paying like $20,000 a month to Amazon for servers.
Wow.
And we have no need to this.
Plug those holes, brother.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to start doing. But yeah, I mean, this is the second year we've got 100%, growth.
Wow.
Man, that's phenomenal. Way to go.
We went out and kind of got a little tipsy last night with the local people, so I ain't gonna lie. Need some extra coffee.
That's why you're on edge a little bit this morning.
I'm not on edge. I'll be honest with you. The whole thing with the Dan Henry pissed me off.
Yeah.
It's like,
Settle down now.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But I welcome these conversations because it helps you kind of figure it out. Like, what are people thinking? Do you have to go that route? Do you have to go this route? I like the challenge. I think it's good.
Yeah, it is good. We had a good, vigorous conversation today. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Good.
I like vigorous stuff. It's always.
I didn't mean to come off on edge. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I didn't take it as that. But
no, it's not like that, Sean, at all.
No. I look at it like it helps get that thought out there. Like, really, should you have the trust symbols? Should you have that kind of thing? What are other people going to think? Because they may be thinking like, oh, here's a douchebag. So who knows?
It's your brand, Sean.
Yeah.
Well, that's the benefit of it.
That is part of my brand, though, realistically.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily being an asshole, but I have many people that message me and they come to me because they know I'll give them a straight answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know why it's good, Sean, is because if we only listen to Abdul, we'll never be any better than Abdul.
That's true.
And if we only listen to Sean, we'll never be any better than On.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if we listen to Sean and Abdul, then we can be better than both.
Then we might get in the same ballpark as being as good as Chuck. I understand.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, or you just listen to me and then everything will be all right.
If Chuck,
I met this girl yesterday in network marketing. Her name is Beryl, and she's absolutely gorgeous and smart. And guess what book she's reading?
Which one?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, she just started reading it. She knows who Russell Brunson is, and so I'm going to invite
I want
her.
to talk to her when she gets to chapter 13.
I told her about chapter 13. She said she might just jump to that.
So she's just reading it on her own right now?
What? She's just reading it on her own.
Wow, good for her.
Tell her about the book club?
I did, so I'm going to invite her.
She's still asleep right now.
No, she's not. She's an early riser.
Yolanda, did we scare away your friend?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't spoken to her.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you guys.
I like her.
Yeah. I hope she does come back.
Very nice lady.
Donna's great.
Yeah.
She's a good too.
All right, guys. Well, I'm about to hit the gym. You guys take care.